Hey, I'm Ezekiel Gentle. If you are new here, welcome. If this is a return visit for you, welcome back. And I'd invite you to subscribe. If you get value out of this, definitely leave a like and a comment. Today, I want to give you some video coverage of my current world while I talk to you about the video's topic. I'm not a mental health professional, nor is this advice. This is actually just a transparent record of a personal experience, is what it is. But I'm making it transparent because I want anybody who has experienced things I've experienced to at least have my learnings available to them. I want what I've been through and what I've learned and gained to be part of other people's learning. You know, we've all heard this expression, doing it the hard way. The way to avoid doing things the hard way is by finding out how they're done, so that we don't go into something, do it, fail, give up, and quit. This is a great segue into what I want to talk to you on a personal topic about, which is my drone. I've now purchased and lost 2 drones. Both were under $50, but each time the flight took an unplanned turn. I think there's a lot to learn from flying drones. The trouble you get into, the loss, other people who get involved, the health. So I wanted to share some coverage as well of both of the drones that I've had, and maybe I'll make a separate video of that. But first I'll show you some coverage of the drone that I had in Pittsburgh, which lasted 2 days. And you know, I had some good flights, some good experiences. It was my first ever drone, so I had really a ton of fun with it. And then the one I just had and lost from Holy Stone, which is the brand off of Amazon. Both were from Amazon. Great drone. With that one, I just sent it way too high, and the wind took it into some trees, and I lost control, couldn't get it back, and RIP. So great experiences with those drones. Hopefully you enjoyed some of that coverage, and more on my drone journey in another video. But today, back to my mental health and really my happiness journey. I wanted to tell you about these things that I've done. And Arthur Brooks talks about this. He's an author, he's a professor at Harvard, and I took an e-course that he offers through edX, which is an online e-course platform. Harvard has a number of courses available there, and I took this one called Managing Happiness. Probably the biggest thing I learned from Arthur Brooks, the value of us knowing where our meaning comes from. And this is a big tie into some of my discussion here about Christianity, because after having let go of some of the fundamentals, I really began to experience a kind of, C.S. Lewis would call it a crisis of faith. Others may call it an identity crisis. But where I had ascribed meaning was then being altered. I had kind of subconsciously lost the same perceived value I'd had without attributing it to a new system. Losing the value I got from Christianity, the meaning it gave my life, I hadn't defined where I was going to get meaning from. And so I entered into a very nihilistic period. Now, I think that many people avoid ever questioning their faith because subconsciously they know if they go off the edge like that, they too will lose their perceived meaning. And that's a great risk for their psychology and the state of their soul. None of us need to or want to be wandering around wondering what our meaning and purpose is, right? And yet many of us do, and we just subvert our attention from that problem onto other things. I'm guilty of that. I'm absolutely guilty of that. But when I've taken my attention from pacifying my own current desires and I've gone back to what gives me meaning, what gives me purpose, it's been these things of relationship, trying my best to be the person I hope I can be, community, knowing others and letting others know me, working on building something that's incremental, that has other people involved. These are all things that personally give me meaning and value and purpose, but I know that that's a general human psychological state of affairs, is that relationships give you value, a sense of community or belonging, or a tribe gives you value and meaning. These things come in many, many different forms, but unless we've identified how and where we find purpose, we're going to continue to wonder why we're not happy. We're going to continue to need to go to therapy and get on medication and explore all these things, because a lot of us are wondering, who am I and where am I going and what is this about? That doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel right. We need a way and a place to calm the storm, sit in the middle of it and say, all right, here's what I know. I know I'm doing my best. Okay. I know I've made mistakes. Okay. I know that some of those mistakes have been really bad. Okay. But I now refuse to accept that they were worse than they are. And that's a Tony Robbins thing right there, is he says, is accept things for what they are, not for more than what they are. So treat things as what they really are, and don't let them get blown out of proportion in our head. If you mess up, you fail, you failed, you messed up. The world keeps spinning. You need to pick yourself up, move on, try again, do it over, continue. Some of the books that I've read are The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Atomic Habits, Power of Now, and Self-Compassion. All these books have been really helpful for me in this time, as well as seeing a coach on a monthly basis, seeing a therapist on an every other week basis. What's crazy to me about the medication conversation is that we often talk about the medication and then we never talk about our diet, our exercise, our use of other substances. All of that needs to come onto the table when you evaluate, am I really working towards being happy or am I working against myself? I'm looking at my coffee pot from here, and reducing the amount of coffee I drink has really helped. This is my personal, because of the other chemicals in my body, that's really helped reduce some anxiety for me, and that's been great. I've made a bunch of choices to go to the gym on a regular basis, meditate on a regular basis, choose the people I'm around, and trust the quality of the decisions that I make about the people that I'm putting around me now. Because if you don't have that, you question those who are loyal to you until they no longer want to be loyal to you. So acknowledging that you've selected to be around other people, you've selected to have them around you, I've got to put our wholehearted conviction behind that choice and really say I own that choice, and therefore I know I made that choice on not just my conscious awareness, but on a subconscious awareness too, where intuitively something about this person seems right for me. Trust that. Lean into that. Nobody is perfect, but it's very easy to find a problem and then you have behavior of abandoning or leaving, recreating a childhood experience that was painful, just launching into that cycle again with every person you've been with. But there's a real opportunity to pause and stop, and that's why I'm in Baltimore, Maryland. Because to be honest with you guys, I've had my life going one direction up until recently. Now it's going another direction. I've talked to you a lot about this already. The reason this is so important is because I've repeated behaviors. So yeah, it's not like daily I'm waking up with this really easy smile on my face, but instead of me pondering how do I feel and watching news or whatever, I immediately start my day with what I know is going to be best for me. And meditating, eating foods that are good for me, drinking drinks that are good for me, easing into my day, waking up early enough that my first meeting or my first call isn't going to be right when I'm out of bed. Getting ahead of my day is very important to me. I've been able to build and establish some habits here so far that I can already see and feel are taking me into a positive trajectory. And that's exactly what I wanted. Will I move right back to LA after all of this? I don't know. Is that the plan? Yeah. But I'm no longer tying myself to a deadline on that, because I'm here to heal. I'm here to experience abundance. And as long as I'm chasing other people's deadlines and other people's expectations, I will never experience that for myself. I may help create that experience for others, but I won't experience it for myself. So I've said no to everything now. I'm done, and I'm sitting here until I get this sorted out. And it's getting sorted out, but it's not all there yet. So I'm not just going to take the tiny amount of progress I've made and leave. I'm going to build on it so it compounds and it gets bigger and bigger. And then I'm going to make a decision based on new circumstances, new facts. And until that day, it's about being in the moment. It's about being in my day, setting things up, making and keeping some kind of commitment with you guys, and as well as the X community that I'm trying to build for my business, for Gentle Media. Without that, there won't be momentum in those areas. So making and keeping commitments to online communities is something I've done in the past. I need to make that a priority again. I'm saying it to you to keep me accountable, but I want that to be a priority for me to nurture this community and to nurture the other communities. I want to end with this. I started writing a letter yesterday that I was going to read on camera. In fact, I started recording it and it looked really good. I liked the way it looked, but it just didn't quite, it wasn't quite right. It's a little too personal and it got a little too sad too quickly. And it wasn't sad for me to write it. That's not really what the narrative is here that I want to share with you. The narrative that I want to share with you is really, and the takeaway from that is really this. I discovered while I was writing it that I've been avoiding leadership of communities for a long time, ever since college. And I can actually track that behavior even further back. So I'm going to share that whole story and more sometime soon, but I wrote it up in, just handwriting. And so I still need to type it up and make it into something presentable. But it's really interesting to see how similar some of these major painful events are in our lives. Not all, but some. So for me, I'm in a process of reestablishing what's normal for me. I'm getting a lot of amazing work done, going to a lot of lengths to take care of all kinds of things, guys. It's really cool. It's really cool. There's a lot of good stuff happening. So yeah, that is it on the mental health update. I am eating healthy foods that I know are good for my body and feel good going down. I am taking my medication as prescribed and am working with my prescriber to give regular feedback on that experience and whether it's going well or something should change. I am meeting with a therapist every couple weeks, meeting with a coach every month or so. I'm meeting with my professional network on a regular basis. I have a running book club with somebody at the gym. We talk about what we're reading with each other. We swap books. There's a lot of good stuff going on. I'm in the process of a lot of good growth, evolution, building, and change. And I just want to be sure to take moments when I can to try to capture that, share that, document it so that you have access to what I'm going through. And maybe it helps you, gives you an idea, gives you something to think about, or, whatever value it provides is great. I'm really happy you watched this video. Thanks for joining. Please drop a like if you got something out of it, and subscribe if you want to know about more. I will see you in the next one. Take care.